everyone, it's Misty here from TheJollyFatElf. Happy Monday. Welcome to day 3 of my 2024 holiday card series. This is my 10th one, and I will never promise you a specific video on a specific day ever again, because both times I've promised, both times I've jinxed myself, and the first time we lost internet, this last time I have been so very sick, and I just couldn't. So yeah, no more promising you anything on a specific date, but I will promise that you will see my craft room before the end of the year. That's my promise from me to you. So in today's video, it's the first project. So if you missed day 1 and 2, the first video is me going through all of my holiday paper pads and picking out ones that I want to try to use the most, finished, etc. The second day was going through all of my holiday stamp sets and picking out ones I'd never used before. I think there's 12. I don't remember. And in today's video, we're making a card. And I said, you know, what do you think will be the first stamp set I use? And if you guessed the new Whimsy Stamps Santa Claus and the little bear at the door, you would be correct. This image, I really wanted to do a 1 stamp 3 ways with that. That's just where I use the same stamp set and do 3 different cards. But we have so many stamp sets, or I have so many stamp sets to get through that I'm gonna like pepper them in. This one and the one from Hello Bluebird, the Santa from Hello Bluebird, I really want to do 3 different ways. So we'll see how we get up with that. So yeah, that's it. That is the explanation. So if you haven't already, I hope you'll consider subscribing. One thing I've continued to forget to mention is that every month I'm going to randomly choose a video, then randomly choose a comment for someone to win a prize. And I have all 3 of them, September, October, November. Did I do one for December? I think I did. So I have all of them packed and ready to go. I just have to pick a winner. So make sure that you leave a comment. I'll even let you just leave a purple heart. Okay? Okay. Anything else? Someone asked me if the like button went away. I have no idea. I don't really pay attention, so hopefully it didn't. So yeah. Okay, so leave questions down below. If you have any, be sure to say hi. And without further ado, let's go make the very first card of my 2024 holiday card series. All right, friends, before we get into this video, I was having peanuts in my Coke before I started filming, and it exploded everywhere. You can kind of see it here. Oh my word, it was crazy. So I had to get all that cleaned up before I could get the stamping. Now I am stamping this image on a piece of Hammermill 100-pound cardstock. That is the cardstock that I like to use when I am stamping. I have to use a thinner one when I am printing nowadays because my printer's decided it doesn't like the thicker paper. But the 100-pound is my preferred weight when I am going to Copic color. So I know a lot of people don't like coloring, so I will try to remember to have timestamps so you can skip ahead. But a lot of this card is me coloring because it's such a huge image. So I like to start darkest to lightest. A lot of people start light to dark. It's completely up to you. What I suggest you do is, and this is kind of what I've done, trial by fire, is just to sit down, you know, find someone you like who has a coloring style that you love and just watch them make videos, or, you know, ask them, you know, why they make the choices that they make, etc. So I wanted his skin to be very light, but I wanted to make sure that there was a pretty good shadow underneath the brim of his hat. So I believe for this image, I'm using E33, 21, and 50. I forgot to write these down. I'm awful at that. I apologize. Now I added R20 to his cheeks and his nose, and I went back over with R20 with his cheeks and his nose. For his beard and his eyebrows, I'm using some C's, so some cool grays. I believe it's 10 and then 00. I just made his beard gray. You guys know I hate shading white with gray. I just feel like it looks dirty. So I just skipped ahead of that and just went ahead and colored his beard gray. And then I did like a light mouth, and I'm like, I don't really like that. So I added some black, and then I made his eye blue. So for the red, I'm using my favorite combination. It's 59, 43, 35. Nope. 59, 46, 35, And then I think I use a little bit of R23 and I go over it because I didn't like the way it looked. I like to go darkest to lightest, so I'm putting the darkest color where the shadows would be. So kind of where his hand is in front of his body, that would be a little bit darker. Because of the sack, it would be a little bit darker. For his hat, I'm going to start darkest at his, like the bottom of the hat and go up and get lighter as we go. And I'm just touching it and then dragging the color. I'm honestly not the person that you want to come to teach you how to color. I couldn't even teach you how to Dougie if I wanted to. But I just sit down and practice. Remember, it's just paper. You can start all over. The amount of times I start over is sometimes ridiculous. Especially when I'm doing the Stamp Anything images, like the last one I did, Jasmine and Aladdin, I colored her 4 times before I was like, okay, Misty, stand up, walk away, then come back. So I got a little irritated, but I came back. Now my markers are messy. So these are alcohol markers. And if you don't like anything to be on the outside of your barrel, you can just use an alcohol swab or some rubbing alcohol and it'll wipe right out. So I just wanted to show you that I still use the hex chart from Sandy Allnock. I think that's one of the best inventions for the crafting community or the coloring community ever, because she's basically made a whole chart to show you which colors go together based on like tone and stuff. And I think it's fantastic. I wanted some khaki for this bag. To me, it's always like a khaki colored sack, reminds me of like a flower sack maybe. And I did a good job until I started filling it in and I picked the wrong color and I had to go back over it with a different color. Right here, you can see this is not really khaki to me. This is more of just like brown, and I really didn't like it. So I ended up going back over it. It doesn't have to be that fussy, but I love him and I wanted him to look as best as I could. I think Chrissy Armstrong is the one that illustrated this, and oh my word, I would love if this was digital. So I would blow this up and do a piece of art to decorate my house. Like I do purple, I would totally color him purple in a heartbeat. Now for the white, again, I don't like to shade white with gray. I know a lot of people do, and they are like, oh, it makes the white stand out. Not to me, it makes it look dirty. So I choose to use some of the BGs. So normally 11, 10, and then like 000 or quadruple 0. You don't have to. You can 100% use gray if that's what you're most comfortable with. And I know this, you're like, Misty, that's blue. Well, it'll dry back and it won't be quite this noticeable. But I would much rather see blue than gray. I don't know. I don't know if it's the way I see color or what, but I just, no, thank you. I don't like it. I'm just using a black C10 and C8 for his belt. Not a lot of shading. It's not a very big spot to shade at all. And then I'm using a metallic kind of permanent marker for the belt buckle. And then I go in later and add some, what's it called? Glitter gel pen. Okay, so initially I colored this bear pink. And I wish I hadn't. And I'm going to fix it in a little bit. I just feel like it just stood out way too much. And I wanted Santa to kind of be the focal point of the card. Now, I already had him colored so beautifully. I wasn't going to even try to start this image again. So in a minute, you're going to see me paper piece a new bear onto this bear. Because again, I think he's cute. He's pretty. I love the pink, or she's pretty, whatever. They were pretty. But I just felt like it was too much. Like if I'd gone a pastel pink, which I should have, which if I'd done that, it would have been R13, 23, 21, RV 13, 23, 21. I probably would have liked it a bit better because it wouldn't have been quite so bright and vibrant. But this is a bit too bright and vibrant for me. And he really threw me off. This bear really threw me off for a while because I was just like, he kind of stands out and I don't like it. I think if it was a different image behind him, like if there wasn't such a huge Santa, I would have loved the color, and I just didn't. So here I realized I didn't color Santa's mittens, so I'm just starting with the darkest color closest to his cuff, and then just going in with a lighter color, probably C9, C6, not C9, C6, C9, C6, yeah. Okay, So I decided because I was like, what am I going to do for the background? And I didn't want to color it with Copics. So I am stamping on a piece of Eclipse, ECLI, whatever, however you spell like a lunar eclipse, masking tape. You can get this on Amazon. It'll last you 150 years. But we're going to mask this image so I can go over it, not only with Distress inks, but also with the stencil and paste, so we can add glitter, like add some snow. So I'm bringing in 2 different oxides. I do wish I had done the light on top and the dark on the bottom. I don't know what I was thinking, but I do make it work. And then later I do go in and add a little bit of marker to this. But I didn't feel like I wanted to add snow drifts and stuff like that. And at this point, I wasn't sure how I was going to cut this out. If you didn't know, I never go into projects knowing exactly what I'm going to do. I kind of design on the fly, and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. But I am really happy with this. But I just knew that I didn't want to add a bunch of detail behind him because he's the star, Santa, and I left this in real time. Oh, that's so satisfying. Now, I don't always cut great, so this is a blender pen. I got mine from Stampin' Up, but I'm sure you can get them anywhere. And it basically just picks up the color and helps you blend it. So when I have some spots that I missed, I just pick up some color from whatever ink I've used, and I go in and I color where I need to. So for the trees, I think I used G28 in another color. Really just easy coloring, quick evergreen kind of spruce colors. And I did dark on the outside and light on the inside. Did they make it all into the end card? I can't even remember. I made this card so long ago. And again, I am not promising videos ever again in my life. Lord have mercy on my soul. So once I get those colored, we're just about ready for the masking in the stencil. I'm going to color the, so I think this is a wreath on a door. Looking at it, it looks like it's a tree because of the way the lines are drawn, but I feel like it's a door. It's a wreath on a door, and Santa's peeking in and he's about to come in. That's how I interpret this image. You guys will have to let me know what you think down below. Because when I was coloring this, again, the wood grain was very wood grainy. And I was like, I guess you can sometimes see that in a door. But the way that the kind of greenery is drawn, it definitely feels like it's a door and he's coming in or looking in, etc. So I'm using the kind of cool grays. I think it's 79, 77, 74. I'm trying to keep it kind of all in the same tone, I guess you could say. And the trees are a cool tone. The blue is a cool tone. It's not a very warm red. It's kind of like a blue red. So we're going to keep it in the cool tone family. Now, there are some berries and stuff that go onto his face. That's why I'm like, is this a wreath on a door? I probably thought too much about it, but let me tell you, these are the things that go through my head. And here I am trying to color it, and I'm like, okay, where is it and where does it go? And that's no fault to the illustrator whatsoever. That's just me not realizing that this is definitely like something that is in front of him, and he's peeking through it. So, yeah. Initially, I colored all of this different greens, and then I went over the berries with the same pink that I used on the teddy bear, and I decided to skip that and just use rhinestones at the end. You'll see that. I also use a deeper, darker turquoise for the ornaments because there are ornaments on this. That's why I think this might be a wreath. It would have to be a wreath, right? So I bring in some blue and color that, and then we're moving on to a stencil. So this is how I store my stencils. That is a Simple Stories 6x8 album, and I use 6x8 pockets and a piece of cardstock to keep it steady, and then I just add them in there. Here I'm adding some Dazzling Diamonds glitter to my picture. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to come back and put it to the side. Here I am, this is 20 times speed, trying to find a pattern that I want for this teddy bear on this card. So I pull out a really fun kind of brown polka dot one that looks like gingerbread. And then I pulled out a red one, and then I pulled out a green one. So I stamped all three, or not a green, like a blue. I stamped all three of these, cut all three of them out, and then had Rob come vote which one he liked the best. And he picked the aqua one, and I had to agree with them. The brown one was just too close to the sack. The red one was just too close to Santa's outfit. So the aqua one really fit in, and I love how he turned out. And so you see me just cutting them out, and then I'm putting him there and trying to decide if I like that. And I think I do. Again, I really want Santa to be the star of the show. Now, when I do paper piecing, I like to bring in a Copic marker and add a little bit of shadows and stuff like that. It just kind of gives it some dimension and makes it not stick out so much as an added piece, but as a part of the colored image. And he turned out so stinking cute. I always add a black edge using a brush marker coming from the back. So I'm going to add some glue. I used a bit too much glue, so I ended up taking some of it off, but we're going to get him adhered. And then we have to work on the card base. And I was like, what am I going to do with this Santa? I couldn't decide. And unfortunately, you can't really see the snow, but I ended up cutting him kind of close. I did want all of the door, and I did definitely wanted the trees. So yeah. Okay, I've die cut him, and then I found this paper. You can't see it, but the big red paper has ho 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 all over it. And I thought, oh, that would be perfect. And then I have one piece of this kind of blue with red berries, and I'm like, oh, that's going to work great too. So this is how I like to make sure that they both have the same stitching, is I will adhere them together first, and then I will die cut them. That way I don't have to worry about trying to match up lines and stuff if I die cut them separately. And you guys know I always like to rub my washi tape on the back of my hand just to take off some of the stickiness, because it can be too much. I believe this is snow cone cardstock from MFT. I've cut it to 4 1/4 by 11, and I have scored this at 5 1/2. I'm using my bone folder to fold that, and then we're going to get everything adhered. Add one small piece of this polka dot ribbon. So I'm using that, and I just attach it to the back with washi tape. That way I don't have to worry about scotch tape, etc. And then I'm going to bring in some foam mounting tape from Scotch to adhere this, because there will be a pretty decent bump from the ribbon. So I wouldn't want to try to adhere this flat. It just wouldn't work. Peeling off the backer sheets, and we're going to put that on just like that. And I love it. I love it. The card base is my kind of layer that gives it that contrast, and I just really love the way it looks. So we're also popping up Santa, and I put one on either side, and he's going to straddle the ribbon. I just missed a couple of spots with the brown, so I brought that back in, and I'm using the tiniest red rhinestones for my berries. And once I do that and bring in some gel pen, some glitter gel pen, and some Nuvo shimmer pen, we're going to be done. I love this card so very much. I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to offer him up. So keep an eye on the Etsy shop if you haven't already. I'll have that link down below. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate you. I'd love to know what you think of this card, and I'd love to know what you think of my new background. I love it. It's so cute. I don't know why I went with pink, but it was just what I had in my brain, and I really, really love how this turned out. You'll have to let me know in the comments down below. All right, friends, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate you. Subscribe. Have a good day, night, weekend, wherever you are. I love your faces. I'll see you Wednesday for another day in this card series. Bye for now.